Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I was on jury duty last month, or sort of anyway. I didn't get picked for a jury, but I was, there, and I was listening to questions that the judge was asking. In this particular case, apparently had to deal with someone being hit with a car. And the judge was saying, have you had any experiences where a car hit something? And of course, I had to ask myself, well, who hasn't had that experience? Seems like a pretty normal experience. But then, have I? Well, yes. Okay, let's see. My father always told a story about how he got into a really bad car accident. This was before I was born. He was temporarily blinded, and they had to call his mother to come pick him up because he was blinded. And when he could see again, he looked at his car and his hair was embedded in the windshield. Okay, so there's that. Alright, so then my stepmother, she totaled a 1979 Chevy Malibu. They're not all that elegant cars. I really don't even remember the car that much, but I'm upset because 1979 was the year I was born, and I really wanted to drive that car. But she crashed it into a stop sign, a concrete retaining wall, another car. Who knows? The car was so badly smashed up at one point that somebody took it for a driving test, and they said, there isn't enough car left here for you to take the test, so shut up. Go home. Alright, so now my brother was involved in a hit and run. He fell asleep at the wheel. He was young, hasn't driven since. Smashed a Mercedes, a 70s era Mercedes, but it was in terrible shape anyway, so, really can't say it was much of a loss. I've been in, I think, 2 accidents, minor accidents. I knew a guy that had a 68 Camaro. He was my best friend at the time, although I don't think I've spoken into him in 8 years. And I wouldn't talk to him anyway because he was a total jerk. Turned into a real weirdo at the end. But he had this 68 Camaro. It was a piece of garbage. It was falling apart. But an engine mount broke. And it would pin the engine so it would accelerate. And he was accelerating so fast, he pulled the key out. He slammed on the brakes, but didn't do any good. He hit a curb and bent the frame. Then later, he was driving 75 on the freeway, swerved out of the lane, and hit an SUV, sent it tumbling end over end. Then he was actually hit by a car on his bike a few months later. This guy, just kept getting injured. So yeah, I bet I could talk to you about, there's a guy who lives down the street from me who talks about the fact that the guy that lives across from me hit his car, and they hit each other's car over time. Like one time he hit the other guy's car, then yeah, of course. Everyone I know at some point has been in a car accident, but that's my history. So yeah, it seems like a silly question to me. But then the judge goes, well, can you be impartial? I think that's kind of the first question one should really ask, but anyway, I just thought it was an interesting topic. So why don't you tell me down in the comments below, have you ever been in a car accident? Oh, I just remembered, there was one time, two friends of mine have been in major car accidents. One of them was in a car accident where he was actually injured, but he was just bruised on his arm, and he was okay afterwards. And then the other one, I knew a guy who was the biggest dipstick I ever met, but he was in a car accident, and the car actually flipped upside down, and when the police got to him, he was hanging upside down by the seatbelt. He was just sitting there frozen. Ooh, that would have been interesting. Yeah, he told me I was a really good driver. Any case, comments below, guys. Anybody who watches this, I want to know, have you ever been in a car accident? Or have you any interesting car accident stories? Anything where a car hit something? I'd like to know down in the comments below. Or perhaps you could make a video and send me a link to it. I am Richard Leland Neal.